Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well, and today we're going to talk about the big week that's coming up in the stock market. It's another crazy one. Last week was pretty busy, especially for me. I'm sure you had some companies reporting earnings, but I have to say about probably 25% to 30% of the companies I own reported earnings last week, so it was really busy. I had a lot of earnings reports to go through. Basically, why there's been no video on the YouTube channel for like the last 2 or 3 days is that I've just been so busy because the videos to create take me a good like 5 hours to make. So instead of making them videos, it just gave me a lot more time to catch up like through all the companies that report earnings, and I have gone through that. And if you're on the Patreon, I have put a video up there on my thoughts. It's about 25 minutes long, about my thoughts on the earnings from last week. So if you're on the Patreon, go check that one out. If you're not on there and you do want to kind of see some of this exclusive content we do put on there, there's 2 or 3 videos a week. The link is in the description if you do want to join that, as well as the Discord on there with 600 members and some other content as well, my buy and sell alerts and everything like that. So yeah, if you do want to join, that link is in the description. And if you do want to start investing in some brokers in the description like Free Trade and Stake, you join through there, you get a free share as well. But getting on to the video this week, or today should I say, yeah, a busy week last week. Just when you catch up and you go through all the earnings report, boom, we're back again with another crazy week. And like I said, I'd say 25% of my companies reported last week, and I'd say another 25% are going to report this week, so it is kind of crazy. And you think you're going to have a break on Saturday and Sunday, and then you look at Sunday, Square report their earnings, and they report their earnings as well as buying out Afterpay, which was a massive purchase. Don't know if you want to see a video on that. You'll have to let me know if you do want to see a video on that. But that was a very big purchase from Square. It's down in pre-market at the moment. I think that was just because of the revenue on the actual earnings was a slight little miss. But yeah, crazy week. And I think this week could be even crazier because what we're going to have this week is a lot of the companies that are going to be reporting earnings are actually smaller market cap companies. And because of the smaller market cap companies, these will have the ability to probably move up a lot or even move down a lot as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think this week could keep us on our toes a little bit more than last week, which was still a little bit crazy. But yeah, we'll go through some of the UK companies and my thoughts on them. And then we'll also then move on to the US companies as well. So I hope that is all okay. So we'll take a look at the first one. Probably the biggest one for me this week is on the UK front is these guys, Greggs. So Greggs are going to be reporting on the 3rd of August, which is tomorrow. Just had a check. Yeah, it's tomorrow, and we're getting the interim results, so we'll get a little bit of an update. Hopefully we'll see some decent growth, some growth on the 2019 numbers. Obviously it was pretty good last time, so we'll see what happens. The problem with Greggs is they kind of get into a bit of a situation, a bit like what we saw with a lot of big tech in the US side of it. So you saw like Microsoft, Apple, maybe Google, but Google actually moved up. But a lot of these big tech companies that came out last week with really good earnings because it's such a good valuation. There were amazing earnings, but the stocks just went nope, no more buyers left because they were so highly valued. I think Greggs is kind of getting there. I just had a little bit of luck here. It's having a very good day today as well as S4 Capital. It's had a very strong day. But yeah, I mean, just look at the run it's been on. So this is the little problem with Greggs that we're going into, is that we are starting to get to quite a rich valuation, and we might have a big tech scenario with Greggs. It's crazy to compare a bakery chain to the likes of Microsoft and Apple, but yeah, it could happen. So this is a little bit worry that I do have going into the earnings. I mean, look at that run up, it's absolutely crazy. So we'll see what happens, but definitely the one that will mean the most to me next week. So we'll see how this one plays out. I am confident of good earnings. My problem is I'm not sure how the stock's going to react to it. We've been on this run, but yeah, it's all looking good. It's very close to joining the 100% club now for me, Greggs. So if it's good earnings, it might push up there. We'll see what happens, but that's Greggs. On the UK front as well, it is worth saying we've got Legal & General, which is a brilliant dividend company coming up. We also have Rolls-Royce, which a few guys are playing as a recovery play. So we'll see how much money they're losing, or if they're not losing as much money, I guess. And then probably one of my favourite house builders, which is Taylor Wimpey, they're also reporting earnings as well. So definitely some UK stocks to keep a look at. On the US scene, it's a bit of a busy one as well. We've got Monday, not too busy ones for me. Obviously, you guys seeing this, you probably know some of the numbers from here. We've got Ferrari. It was one of my first companies I owned in my stock market portfolio back in 5 5-6 years ago now. One of the first companies I owned. Kind of did my favourite thing of coming onto the stock market. IPO'd, the hype died down, it went down, bought it, and then it went up again. You know, the likes of, you know, Dropbox, Pinterest. There's been many that have done that before, and yeah, made a very good return off that one. So I like Ferrari. Not It's a bit of a richer valuation nowadays. Take-Two, which is a pretty good gaming company actually, and Arista Networks is one I do like to keep an eye out. And SolarEdge, I know some of you guys like your solar companies as well. So those are some little ones on Monday, definitely more of the quieter day for sure. Tuesday, we start to get to some big names on this list, and it's worth saying as well that Turtle Beach isn't on here. So Turtle Beach is missing, but they are reporting, I believe it's Thursday, so worth shouting that one out. So Tuesday, this is a big one. So first of all, Alibaba's going into earnings. So Alibaba, I'm actually quite confident on earnings, because what you have here is where last week we had a lot of stocks that had been on very good runs. Alibaba's been beaten down since October. It's fallen off a cliff. So with it having this negativity going into earnings, if they can pull out some good earnings, we could see a jump. We'll see what happens. But if it was weak earnings and everyone goes, okay, it's now slowing down, plus with this pressure, it could be a little bit negative. But typically Alibaba do strong earnings, so we'll see what happens. And if with them being beaten down, I've got a little sneaky feeling we could see a jump on this one. Earnings is 50-50 like I say, and I don't play earnings, but if you're asking me where I could see this going, that's where I could see it going. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, to be fair, if it was strong earnings and it was to go down, that won't be the worst situation, because right now it's cheap, and at a 23p ratio, it's dirt cheap. If we start pushing Alibaba in the 180s, 170s, that would definitely be very interesting. So we'll see how Alibaba works out. And then Corsair, which is another big one. I'm really liking Corsair stock. So we'll see what they come out of earnings. I've gone through, and I did that on the Patreon video. I went through the Logitech earnings, and yeah, they were very good, the Logitech earnings. And the big thing that stood out was the gaming segment. So I thought, well, if Logitech are kind of thinking the gaming segment's going to be big, who's got an even better gaming segment than Logitech? Corsair. And people are kind of thinking this is Corsair done. You know, they benefited from the CV situation, but you know, these guys had a mega 2019 even before the CV, and I think these guys are going to grow a huge amount. And gaming's here to stay, streaming's here to stay, and they're great products, and I think they'll do very well. Obviously, once again, coming down as a beaten company, big thing, 2.6 billion market cap. So in my opinion, you will see this company move at least 5% on these earnings. So we'll see. I say that it probably stay flat now, but I think this could be one that does move, especially with how beaten down it's been. If they can put up good numbers as well, it should be good. So yeah, keep an eye on Corsair. I will, especially with this an 18p ratio. I am looking at this one now and thinking, I'm really starting to think about making this a really big position. At the moment, it's just average in my portfolio, but looking at this, it's a very cheap stock. So if it does go down, you'll see me probably buying, especially if the earnings are good and it goes down. You'll probably see me buying a lot more. Skills. We've not talked about Skills for a little bit. So if we just go on Skills, it's been volatile. It's a stock that moves a huge amount. Once again, 5.5 billion market cap company, has the potential to move a big amount. I think off earnings, it moved a big amount last time. Even in a normal day, this stock can move 5%. So you put earnings in here, this stock is, you know, even right now in pre-market, it's moving up 3%. This stock can move a big amount in one day. So after earnings, it can move once again a huge amount. Being a very volatile stock, it's been a good one that I kind of got my average now down to about, I think it's $15 or $14, and it tends to have these little pops here. You see 68%, so it's actually been a very good one. I've made a lot of money off Skills already, from selling on this little pop here that I just showed you, and this little pop here. So there's been two good chances to make a really good money on Skills, and I'm about break even on Skills right now. Now it's back down here. For me, it's going to be an interesting quarter for Skills. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if it'll go up. I don't know if it'll go down. Because obviously you're going to have really tough quarter over quarter comparisons. So the growth could look a little bit weak, even though it's hopefully what I'm hoping Skills do is they actually compare over a 2-year range rather than just off the CV numbers, because the CV numbers will be really hard to beat. But yeah, it'd be good to get an update on the NFL side of it, partnership side of it, the revenue side of it, if they're kind of looking more to kind of advertise now, which looks like there could be something they're moving into. Yeah, I don't know I have no idea what to expect from Skills. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely, if you don't like volatility, it's definitely a company to stay away from, because it has that for sure. So we'll see what Skills brings out. And then Activision, I mean, Activision is pretty cool. Very much like a Take Two. BP, Sun Power, Under Armour, Nikola, wow, Lyft. So yeah, some other companies there. Then on Wednesday, General Motors, CVS Health, which is not too bad of a dividend play. Royal Caribbean, Roku, Uber, Etsy. Etsy's interesting. I've actually got Etsy here. Etsy's quite really interesting because this is kind of doing something very similar to like the Pelotons and the Pinterest. Is like they're kind of having very hard times to kind of keep up with the growth they've had, the surge. But when I look at Etsy, it's one of those companies that I'm looking long term. It's a solid company, and I like it. So yeah, we've got a dip here at the moment, and if you kind of give me Etsy back around about the $140 range, this would be something where if it was to go down there, I'd be very tempted to pick this up. And even if it doesn't happen this quarter, because it's got so tough numbers to beat over the next few quarters, especially Q4, you would imagine, it would be one that I'd look to kind of consider buying. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, to have a company like this at a 53 P ratio, by the time it went down to a 140, 160, it'd be even lower. So yeah, that's one that I am watching that I don't own in particular. Bionano, Fastly. Fastly's had a rough time at the moment. I don't know if any of you guys play Fastly. And then on the Thursday, we've got Moderna, Wayfair, Fiverr. That obviously they've, once again, Fiverr, Upwork, they've got really hard numbers to beat, but will great companies in the long term, so definitely ones to watch. Square, which obviously they've kind of reported their earnings now. But I actually checked, I don't think they've done the conference call yet, so maybe that is Thursday. I've not checked that. Bad planning by me, my fault, I'll take that one. I should know that stuff. Virgin Galactic, I know a few guys are playing this as a bit of a high risk play. Cloudflare, and obviously probably the big one for me on the Thursday is Beyond Meat. So these guys are actually selling off recently. I actually went onto my account. I don't really go on my brokerage account that much, but I did on the weekend just to see how everything's doing. And I didn't even realise, like, I'm near break even on Beyond Meat. I didn't even realise over the last kind of few weeks, or a month should I say, the stock's down 22%. And I was like, what? I have no idea why it's kind of sold off so much going into earnings. I'm not complaining because we've got the kind of typical thing here where we're going into earnings on a weak share price, which is the positive. So more than likely, hopefully we see a jump. We'll see what happens. But the thing is as well, this is the first earnings that I'm actually going into Beyond Meat actually really excited. The last few quarters I've gone into Beyond Meat going, don't expect anything. It's going to be awful. The food service number is going to be awful. Revenue will then look weak because of it. But this is the first earnings that we're going into Beyond Meat, and I go, you can expect something now. It's not going to be full pelt back to where we were, but a good 30% plus growth should be good. The retail, hopefully, US is still strong. International, hopefully that's kind of expanded a lot as well, especially with the barbecue season coming up. And then hopefully as well, the food service the food service numbers aren't looking painful. They've got easy numbers to beat because basically Q2 a lot of the food service was shut. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I have no idea. This is potentially the one that could be the surprise package, because Wall Street is selling it off even into earnings. People think it's terrible, but this company is going to be an interesting quarter. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's probably the one this week that I'm really looking forward to, because it's just been so many quarters of going, don't expect anything big, to being the first quarter of, okay, here we go. But it's still not going to be full potential. Remember that, it's still not going to be the max Beyond Meat here. We'll get max Beyond Meat towards the end of the year, but at the moment it's still slowly starting to pick on. So yeah, I'm Beyond Meat. You can tell I'm buzzing for this one. I can't wait. And I kind of give you a little glimpse into there, which I'm going to talk about next. But yeah, DraftKings, Canopy Growth, Kronos Group, if you guys play that one. Yeah, and I guess the last big one for me, DraftKings earnings. So we'll see what happens with DraftKings. I pretty much 100% certain, obviously Gang have brought preliminary earnings out, and yeah, DraftKings I know are going to be strong numbers. I have no doubt the financials will be impressive on DraftKings. The question is going to be, how does the stock market take it? And we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll take it positive. It is a little bit sold off at the moment here. But yeah, I think the big thing for me is I'm going into this, I'm so confident on DraftKings. The big thing is how the market's going to take it, and we'll see. I've got a feeling they might take it positive. So yeah, but obviously DraftKings nowadays is my biggest position, so this one does mean a lot to me. I'm a little bit nervous even talking about it because I know my stock market portfolio is going to move a huge amount off this company, with it being my biggest holding. So we'll see what happens. But I'm confident. I just don't know how the market's going to take it. That's the big thing. So yeah, and yeah, I'm sure we'll make a video on at least one of these companies that report earnings, and I'm sure you guys have some companies reporting earnings as well. So best of luck. We'll see how it plays out. I'm sure I'll probably end up making a video on one of these anyway, companies that report earnings. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, catch you on the bit. Hope that video was useful. If you could hit the like button, that'd be amazing. And I'll see you on the next video.